The topic of my class, the aim of human life and Guru Tattva. So this is a chapter, criteria of a Guru, who is the real Guru, and Guru Kripa Hi Kevalam. So this is from the topic, but of course I will speak with the experiences, my experiences. So the aim of human life and Guru Tattva. The goal of human life is to realize Param Purush. As you know, and in order to realize Param Purush, Guru plays very vital role. All scriptures have accepted the rarity of the human life. Fundamentally, human beings are spiritual beings and dominated by the Atman or soul. Actually, human life is for sadhana and animal life is for physical enjoyment. Because this is very valuable, this human life is very, very valuable. What Baba has told once upon a time, that the value of the human life is beyond the comprehension of the human beings. Once he told, life is a constant state of evolution, both physically and mentally. Every human being has passed through this process of evolution, spanning thousands of millions of years. Do you understand how valuable your human life is? After several hundred millions years of evolution, a living being gets a human body. So Baba explained this with a wonderful demonstration, and this demonstration took in the middle of 1965 when Baba was in Jamalpur, and that is a very inspiring demonstration which shows that how valuable is our human life. Even we cannot comprehend about it. So demonstration goes like that. That was the day of Sunday. And usually on Sunday, Baba was giving general darshan to the Margis. Many Margis assembled from the different part of India. So Baba gave a very inspiring speech. After that, Baba indicated one man. His name was Yadunandan Misra, who came from the Motihari, North Bihar. So beside Baba, Acharya Dasarath was sitting. So he told to Dasarath, just this Yadunandan Misra is standing before me. And just you see what he was 500 million years ago. You can imagine, then Baba told, just you see what he was 500 million years ago. Then Dasarath told Baba, I am seeing water and water all around. Then Baba told, go deep in the ocean and you see what you see. Then Dasarath told, there is a small worm deep in the ocean, twisting and curling. Then Baba told, that was Yadunandan Misra 500 million years ago. Then Baba told, now you see what he was 250 million years ago. Dasharatha told Baba, I can see a big rock and there is crevice in the rock. Baba, I can see an insect inside crevice in the rock. Then Baba told 250 million years ago, he was that Yadunandan Misra. So in this way, it was very very interesting demonstration explaining the value of the human life. Then Baba told what he was 150 million years ago. Then Dasarath Dada told he was a huge chameleon, his big dinosaur in the species of chameleon. Then what this Yadunandan Misra was 50 million years ago. Then Dasarath told, I can see a big bird like a kite eating reptiles. So that was Yadunandan Misra 50 million years before. Then Baba told, now see 1 million years ago. I can see a primate like a chimpanzee hopping about on a tree. Then Baba told him, now you see what he was 1,000 years before. Dasarath told he was a farmer tilling a field, plowing the land. And now this Yadunandan is standing before me. So then after demonstration, he asked to the Yadunandan Misra, do you understand it? How valuable is your human life? So this human life is very valuable, and this life is only to realize Param Purush. Otherwise, we have to go in. So this is the value of the human life. And as I have told, human life is only for sadhana. And animal life is for the physical enjoyments. And as I have told, fundamentally, human beings are spiritual beings dominated by the Atman or soul. So once Baba was talking, he has given talk. Human beings, who are the human beings? Those who have established themselves in their spiritual beings through the spiritual practice are the human beings. So those who have established themselves in their spiritual beings through spiritual practice are the human beings. Once Baba was talking, this human being in the process of development, when physical structure becomes complicated and psychic structure also develops to that extent that it starts controlling the physical body. That state is called human beings. Human being controls physical body. So we should have control over our mind. So this mind can easily control our physical body. So in order to realize our goal, Guru is very important. So as you know about Guru, but before that I will talk about Guru Tattva. As I have said, the aim of human life in Guru Tattva. Tattva means essence, the essence of the Guru, the gist of the Guru. somewhere Baba has mentioned, you might have read it. Through the medium of Guru Tattva, Param Purush guides human beings on the path of Dharma. Baba told Lord Shiva was the first Guru in this world. He was the most positive expression of such type of powers. When Brahma or Ishwar expresses himself as a Guru, then he is called Tarak Brahma. So when he comes in the form of Mahasambhuti, so this Mahasambhuti is the physical body of Tarak Brahma. So what is Guru? And what is Guru Tattva? Just I will tell you, it is a deep matter. Baba has told once that what is Guru Tattva? It is a mystic reality to be realized by a sadhak in the deeper realm of sadhana. Guru Tattva is a mystic reality, though it is a reality, but it is a mystic, unknown. And it has to be realized by a sadhak in the deeper realm of sadhana. Guru Tattva is not a physical body. It is an essence, ideational entity. Guru Tattva is a spiritual psychic phenomenon. Guru Tattva is a spiritual psychic phenomena. He is not a psycho-spiritual phenomenon. First we realize Guru on the spiritual plane. Then we conceive it on the psychic level. So that's why Guru Tattva is a spiritual psychic phenomena. Gracious gift bestowed by the Supreme Consciousness. This is the supreme grace of Tarak Brahma. What do you mean by gracious gift? His grace is unconditional, having no any reason. That's why it is called gracious gifts. And his grace is his whim. Nobody can challenge why he is bestowing his grace on somebody and why not me. Because his grace is his whim and it is unconditional, having no any reason. That's why Baba has explained about the Kripa. What is Guru Kripa? Guru Kripa means to help one in one's progress even when one does not deserve it, and still one is helped. That is called Guru Kripa. So that is his behind his Kripa. There is no any logic. There is no any reason. He can bestow his grace on anybody, anytime, and nobody can challenge about his grace. So now we come. What is Guru? You all know about the Guru and Sadguru. Sadguru is the entity which establishes us in Satya. Guru, the entity that dispels all sorts of darkness from your spiritual, psychic, and mundane spheres. That is called Guru. And it has been said that Brahma himself is the Guru. There cannot be any second Guru. Brahmaiva Guru Rekha na parah. Brahma can be only Guru because he can only remove the darkness of mind and soul. No ordinary person can remove the darkness from the mind and soul. So Brahma can be the alone Guru. And you know, when Dharma declines and Adharma dominates, then Tarak Brahma emerges with his sankalp. What it has been said in Tantra, Yasman Maheswara Sakshat Kritva Kripya Manus Rupena Magna Prodharati Praja. due to his special grace for the devotees, when devotee calls him for liberation, then he comes in the human form with his sankalp. Then his body is known as Mahasambhuti, but he is a Tarak Brahma. And Mahasambhuti is a body of the Tarak Brahma. But his body is not an ordinary body. It is a Sankalpa made of his determination. And he comes with the determination to liberate the entire mankind, particularly to the devotees. So that's why it has been said, to be Guru, to be Sadguru is not an easy task. Who can be Guru in the spiritual world? He alone can Guru who can lift downtrodden humanity to the higher level. That is, only a Mahakal has the requisite qualification. So Mahakal can be only Sadguru, whose Kundalini is always in Sahasrara Chakra. And merely by his touch, by his desire, he can elevate the cool Kundalini of anybody. So he is Mahakal, all-knowing entity, all-powerful entity. So Baba has mentioned only Mahakal has only the quality to become Sadguru. And to be Sadguru, it is not an easy task. He must be thoroughly well versed in the spiritual science. He should know the inner and outer feeling of the devotees, of the disciples. Then he has mentioned, and who can be Guru in the psychic world? One who can remove the sense of want. We all have some desire. We have many, many desires. One who can remove the psychic wants. Then only he can be the psychic Guru. Means he should be well versed in humanities, in fact, in all branches of human knowledge. Means all-knowing entity only can be Sadguru. Means Brahma can be only Sadguru. No other can be. And as I have told you, he comes in the physical form. He expresses himself through a physical frame, a physical body. But that physical body is not a Guru. He is expressing through that form. So Guru Tattva is an essence. It is a mysterious entity which can be only realized in the deeper realm of the meditation. But now, and then who can be the Guru in the physical world? Disciples of the Guru are the men and women of flesh and blood, having physical structure. They have their pleasure and sorrows and miseries. They have cries and love. They have their problems of food and clothing. A Guru must see to that their mundane problems are solved. Means Guru who can solve their all the mundane problems. That's why Baba has given crowd. And to solve the psychic problems of the human beings, Baba has given New Humanism. And to solve the spiritual problems of the human beings, Baba has given very, very scientific meditation. As I have explained you in the previous class. So to be Guru, to be Sadguru is not an ordinary joke. So XY person cannot be Guru. One who is established himself in that highest level of spirituality, he can be only Guru. Means Brahma can be one. But who can be Guru? Nirgun Brahma has no objectivity. Sagun Brahma is under certain bondages. So Tarak Brahma is only Guru and nobody can else. And nobody else can be. And as you know, this Tarak Brahma, he is not the figure of the philosophy. This philosophy cannot describe about the Tarak Brahma. Baba has told this Tarak Brahma is a creation of devotional sentiments. So we can only realize him through our deep devotion. And this Tarak Brahma, he in tangential points resides within the scope of Nirgun and Sagun. This Tarak Brahma is a link between Nirgun and Sagun. His one leg is on the physical world and other leg is on the spiritual world. So he is the tangential point. And Tarak Brahma, he can be our Guru. Then what is the form of the Guru? Is Guru physical body? What is the form of the Guru? Once Baba has told me, and he also explained through the demonstration, the Guru is a formless entity. He is a spiritual entity, an ideation entity, and bodiless entity. As it has been mentioned in the Upanishad, there is a slok, very beautiful slok. Sachidanand Rupaya Vyapne Paramatmane. Namah Guru Nathaya Prakashanand Murti. Namastubhyam Guru Paramatmane. Sarvatantra Swatantrataye Chidganananda Murti. In the first form of Guru, we can realize him in the form of divine effulgent. But the inner form of Guru is Chidghanananda Murti. He is the embodiment of bliss. So Guru's form is his embodiment of bliss. He is not a spiritual entity. He is a spiritual entity, complete spiritual entity, and ideational entity, and bodiless entity, as I have said. Formless entity. But to educate, to liberate the humanity, he takes the body of, he takes physical body, but his body is not made of flesh and bone. It is made of sankalp, his sankalp. And his sankalp of Tarak Brahma is to liberate the entire human beings. I will tell you through some of the experiences what is the form of Guru. You know Acharya Dasarath ji very well. In olden days, Baba was always giving demonstration. Acharya Dasarath ji. So once Dasarath ji was very eager to know the real form of Baba. He wanted to know the real form, but he couldn't know. So he started just praying Baba, Baba, let me know what is your real form. So once Baba was sitting in Jamalpur Jagriti, meanwhile Dasarath entered into the room. He did Sashtang Pranam. Then Baba asked him humorously, do you want to know me, what I am? He told, yes, Baba. I am thinking since long to know about you, what you are. Then Baba just said, on his cot, closing his eyes. Then he told Dasrath, do you want to know what I am? What is my real form? Then all of a sudden Dasratha experienced where Baba was sitting, he could see only mass of light. White light was floating and sound voice was coming from that effulgent light. Kalyana Mastu, Subha Mastu. And while seeing that, visualizing that light, Dasarath Dada was getting immense happiness. So then Baba told, this is my real form. I am formless. And I am the embodiment of bliss. And I have come here for the welfare of the humanity. So Baba is Kalyana Sundaram. He always thinks about the well-being of everything, and not only of the human beings, even for the animals and plants, animate and inanimates. So he is Ananda Murti. Ananda Murti is the real form. What has been said in the Upanishad, Chidghana Ananda Murti. I have also experienced about Baba, what is the real form of Baba. You might have heard my experiences. Since very beginning, when I became whole timer in 1965, but I was initiated in 1961. Since then, I had a deep desire to know about Baba. When I became whole timer, then I was getting a lot of time to be close to Baba. When I was in the room of Baba, I was always looking or gazing at him with the concentrated eyes. And while looking at him, I was enjoying immense happiness. So Baba told, why you are looking at me with that penetrating eyes? But you are seeing this physical body, this is not Guru. Then I was confused. If this physical body is not Guru, then who is the Guru? What is the real form of the Guru? Then Baba told me, he touched my Anahat Chakra. Then he told me, just meditate on the Anahat Chakra. When my mind was deeply concentrated in Sahasrara Chakra, when he started meditating, then I was getting immense happiness, which I cannot describe. So what you are realizing, experiencing, that bliss, that is Ananda Murti, that is your Guru, and he resides in Sahasrara Chakra. But I was so much charmed with the physical body. Whenever I was getting opportunity to enter into Baba's room, I was always looking at his physical body. Many times Baba reminded, this physical body is not Guru. You have, if you want to realize, then you have to concentrate on Sahasrara Chakra. But some Baba played drama tricks. What I had so much instruction for the physical body, I got repulsion. And I got so much repulsion, it has come in the form of the hatred. Even I couldn't see while meditating. I was experiencing Baba scolding, beating, and all these things. Even I could not meditate properly. At the same time, I had an intense feeling of love for his physical body. But while seeing his physical body, I was reacting. And that was the very painful situation for me. I was always praying, Baba, you let me know what is your real form. Then he gave demonstration on Guru Tattva in the year 1964 and in 1969. It was 4th January. And as you know, 69 was the Baba had declared demonstration year. So he gave me demonstration about the Guru Tattva. this 4th January 1969 was the golden day of my life. That was Ranchi Jagriti. When we were at the Jagriti in Ranchi, in Baba's presence, his room exploded with a blissful charm. After we sat down, he called me and instructed me to sit close to him. I moved up and sat opposite him. He then touched my Agya Chakra with his stick and asked me to concentrate my mind in Sahasrara Chakra. As he spoke, my mind was automatically concentrated on the Sahasrara Chakra by some unknown force. Then I attempted to visualize Baba's physical form in the Sahasrara Chakra. So Baba told me, just you concentrate your mind in Sahasrara Chakra and try to see what you are feeling. When I started concentrating my mind very deeply, then I had a very strange feeling. I had a strange vision that Baba's physical body was dissolving. And I was very much afraid of it. This bizarre vision frightened me because I had never this type of feeling in my dhyana. I was so much frightened. Then Baba told me, don't get frightened. Still go more in the deeper dhyan. And after going in the deeper dhyan, whatever you will realize, you will express in front of everybody. So when Baba told for the second time, go still more in the deeper dhyan, I started meditating. Then what I could feel, I could realize that above Sahasrara Chakra, I could see that effulgent light, bright effulgent light is floating. And while seeing the effulgent light, I was getting spiritual ecstasy. I was forgetting myself. It was so blissful, wonderful to see, indescribable. So I told Baba, I am seeing that white light is floating over my Sahasrara Chakra. Third time Baba told, you still go more deeper. Then when Baba told you go still more deeper, then my mind was deeply concentrated. Then Baba told, what you saw, you just expressed. Then I had a wonderful vision. What I could see, there was white effulgent, bright effulgent light was floating over my Sahasrara Chakra. And on that bright light, I could see Baba was sitting in a Barabhai posture. But his body was not made of flesh and bone, but he was in a divine form. And after realizing, experiencing that form, I was getting immense bliss. I started feeling that as I am floating in the ocean of the bliss. Then Baba told, what you are realizing, that is the real form of Ananda Murti. And he is the Guru of Ananda Marg. And this Ananda Murti is not a physical phenomena. He is an ideational entity, he is a spiritual entity. And in that form, he is beyond good and bad. He is beyond everything. And everybody has a right to see on his lap because he is a Kalyana Sundaram. He is a bliss personified, embodiment of knowledge. And that is the real form of Ananda Murti. So what I said, so what is the form of Guru? So he is a formless entity. But when he comes Then he takes human form just to teach and guide to the humanity as a guru. But in reality, guru is formless entity. And now question arises, importance of guru. Scripture says the rank of guru is even more superior than the rank of God. Guru's rank is above God. We know that God is the creator of everything. He is all powerful entity. But scripture says, if God is dissatisfied with us, so while catching the feet of Guru, we can please God. But if Guru is dissatisfied, then nobody can save us. So importance of Guru, the rank of Guru is even much more superior than the God. All the saints and sages have realized and they have told about the rank of the Guru. So Guru's rank is very, very superior. This Guru is the creator of the God. He can create God. He can create, he can make anybody God. And now question arises, how to achieve his grace? How we can attain Guru's grace? So Baba has said in the topic, in order to realize Guru, you have to remove the umbrella of vanity from your head. In order to realize Guru, you have to remove the umbrella of vanity from your head. We have to remove our I-ness. We have to merge our I-ness with that greater I. Then only we can experience and realize him. And once upon, I had a very wonderful experience. Baba told me how to achieve his grace. Once he told me, his grace is unconditional. One can attain his grace only by his grace. So you might have heard that I had an alien disease, negative microvita, and I suffered for 2 years. But when I was in the beginning stage, it was very painful. When this disease came to me, I became mad. I forgot everything. And I did not know what to do. Mentally, I was catching his feet and crying. I couldn't sleep for 15 days, could not eat, could not sleep. But just I was crying while catching his feet mentally. Then he called me to Lake Garden. That time Baba was residing in the Lake Garden. The fine morning when I entered in the room of Baba. That was maybe 25 September 1988. Baba started giving negative macrovita sadhana. I entered. The moment I entered, everything was gone. My mind became alert. Then he started teaching me macrovita sadhana. I remained in his room for 2 hours. And when I was coming out, then Baba told me, you try to be in iota of his grace. But how you can have an iota of his? You can get an iota of grace by his grace only. And what you will do in order to get his grace? You have to catch hold of his feet mentally. And you have to cry with the immense love. And that is the only way to get his grace. So in order to get his grace, we have to catch hold of his feet. Baba has told what is Guru Bhakti. Once he told to dance as per his will is the Guru Bhakti, is the real devotion. He told me when I was the SS of Manila, once upon a time, do you know, Parmeshwaranam, what is the devotion? I was quiet. Then he himself told, to dance as per the will of Guru is the real devotion. And that is real Guru Bhakti. And what is Guru Puja? To carry out the order of the Guru is the Guru Puja. And once he told what is sadhana, to satisfy the Guru. Try to satisfy the Guru. Guru is the real sadhana. So in the spiritual world, Guru is everything. If we could win the grace of the Guru, then we can do anything and everything. And this spiritual world is nothing but it is the grace of the Guru. So anyhow, we have to try to win the grace of the Guru. We should have feeling that he is mine and mine. And he belongs to me only and nobody else. That is God, that is my personal God. He is my personal property. That should have the feeling of all the devotees. That he is mine and mine alone. If we have this type of feeling, ideation for him, then we are bound to get his grace. But you know that Guru tests disciple in the different ways. And he tests in so many ways. Maybe we may suffer from the health problem. We may have financial problem. We may have fight with the family and friends. Friends may criticize us. He can create in such a situation. Fight with the official boss. So this test may come in the different ways according to the sanskaras. What Baba has mentioned, he told to one devotee, 7 type of test. So there he has mentioned 7th test, Nivedit Pran. One who is surrendered to the Guru. In that state of mind, then Guru works for him. Those who only living for the Guru, then it becomes the responsibility of Guru to take care of him. And 7th final test, he gives himself. In final test, he creates so many disturbances, so many problems. We might have many type of humiliations and tortures as Pandavas and many great personalities faces. But when we surrender, then also he creates circumstances that we can cross in any of the tests. He tests, he creates problem, but when we depend on him, then he solves for all the problems. So surrender is the greatest thing in the spiritual life. Through surrender, through deep devotion, only we can realize Guru. As I have told, when dharma declines and adharma dominates, Mahasambhuti manifests himself at a particular time with a specific mission to transform both individual and collective body. So he comes in the form of Mahasambhuti, Tarak Brahma. Then how we can know that who is Tarak Brahma? So Baba has mentioned somewhere What are the qualities of Tarak Brahm? What are the qualities of this Mahasambhuti? When Tarak Brahm takes the help of 5 fundamental factors, he is called Mahasambhuti. When Tarak Brahm, that Nirgun Brahma with his Sankalp, takes the body of 5 fundamental factors, then that body is called Mahasambhuti. And true qualities of Mahasambhuti are beyond human comprehension. Baba has said following fundamental attributes of Mahasambhuti. Earlier I have told you the qualities of Sadguru, 14 qualities of Sadguru, as it has been mentioned in the chapter Sadhana and Tantra. But what are the 6 attributes of the Mahasambhuti? Tarak Brahm. Because Mahasambhuti is the physical body of Tarak Brahm. And Tarak Brahm is not a figure of the philosophy. It is a matter of realization. So first quality of Mahasambhuti by birth is all-knowing and all-powerful entity. He is omnipresent, omniscient and almighty since very beginning. And second quality is he is an inborn Guru. He has no any spiritual Guru. He comes as a Guru to vibrate the mankind. Third quality, all human knowledge are under his comprehension, his embodiment of knowledge. And we have experienced, we have seen that he has knowledge of everything. He can see past, future and present of everyone. Once Baba told, if someone comes before me, then I can see his entire life. So he knows everything. He is beyond the bookish knowledge. I need not to say many things because time is also a factor. And fourth quality of Mahasambhuti is a Sankalpa body of Tarak Brahm. Mahasambhuti is a Sankalpa body of Tarak Brahm. So his Darshanat is Sparshanat Sabdat. By seeing him, by touching him, by hearing him, he generates Shivbhav in the disciples. That's why we have seen while seeing Baba, while hearing Baba, while touching Baba, we get fully vibrated. We get infinite happiness. So he is a Sankalp Deha of Tarak Brahm. So by seeing him, by touching him, by hearing him, we can be vibrated. You know, when he was coming in DMC, when he was looking at everyone and telling, how are you? What my sons and daughters say, we were fully vibrated, doing Baba, Baba like this. So he can generate Shivbhav by touching, seeing, hearing him. That is the speciality of Mahasambhuti. And fifth, he is a Mahakaul, as I have told, Mahakaul. His Kundalini is always in Sahasrara Chakra. And merely by wish, merely by touching, seeing, he was having capacity to elevate the full Kundalini of anybody and give them moksha. Several stories and experiences are there. You might be also having this type of experiences. So he is a Mahakaul, Tarak Brahm, all-knowing entity. And six, he manifests himself for a specific mission. Whenever he comes, he comes with a certain purpose, with a definite purpose. And what is purpose, which has been said in the Gita? Paritranaya sadhunam vinachayata duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To establish dharma, to destroy the wickedness, I come. So what Baba has given, what is the objective of Anand Marg? Atmokchartham jagat hitaya cha. So Baba is the first Guru who has said, if someone will do only meditation, if not do anything for the society, then he won't get moksha. In order to get liberation, one has to do deep meditation with service-mindedness. We have to do meditation at the same time, you have to serve the humanity. So Baba, in Tantra, Baba has made service a part of sadhana. So his mission, earlier I have also said, he manifests himself for a specific mission. Atmokchartham jagat hitaya cha. And we are very fortunate that we have God Brahma as a Guru. So what more can be fortunate than us? So it becomes our duty to do more and more meditation, and we should also do more and more work for his mission. In this way, we can satisfy him, we can please him. When he pleases, by his grace, anything can be done, anything can happen. So what I feel personally, in spirituality, we should have catch the feet of Baba, and we should cry with the intense devotion. Then certainly our life will become successful. And with this, I can conclude this topic. And if I have taken more time, please pardon me. And as you have listened me with the rapt attention, I am really grateful to you all. You have given me opportunity to speak in your platform. So I would like to give thanks to you all, and namaskar to everyone.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Ajit, thank you. Actually, you have another 20 minutes still.
Oh, I thought I saw the watch, then I saw that. Yeah.
Another 18 minutes, so you can give us some nice stories. I know you have a lot of nice stories.
I could have elaborated the topic, but I thought that time is passing.
Oh yeah, please.
So I shorten.
Yeah, continue. Yeah, another 15 minutes more is okay.
So, okay, I will tell some of the then stories. Our topic, once I have now withdrawn my mind. So, as you know, through this demonstration, how Baba has narrated about this. So, I will talk something about devotion, some of the experiences. Oh, I had 10. I would have. this spiritual path, this devotion is the path of rationality and victory. And the real devotion, it is an attraction or love to the Param Purush. And devotion is a natural phenomena, as we know. So I will tell some of the experiences. Relation between Bhakt and Bhagwan, Guru and disciple, is completely personal and intimate, and it is ideational also, because we can realize Guru or God through our ideation. So small things counts very much about our intention, about our feeling to our Guru. Very small thing. Once when I was posted in Anand Sila, I was there for 7 years. So I had many experiences in Anand Sila. Once I had a feeling that Baba should eat vegetables only from my farm. And I started growing nice vegetables with full of the devotional. And I was sending in every 3-4 days, lot of different type of vegetables to Lake Garden. In those days, Baba was living in the Lake Garden. And whatever vegetables I was sending, he was eating and he was praising. And his PA, Keswal, was conveying everything to me. Oh, Baba was preaching about your vegetables. But that type of ideation remained in my mind for 3 months, that Baba should only eat from my vegetables from my farm. And he was reciprocating my feeling. So this spiritual what entire ideational, as I have mentioned, when I had this alien disease from some other planet, which I have mentioned about you just right now, it was so painful beyond the human tolerance. So while catching his feet, I was crying and telling Baba, you should not take my sanskaras in your body. Otherwise, you have to undergo through a lot of sufferings. I was crying that he should not take my this sanskaras of suffering. It is so much suffering. Once Baba mentioned me, because this Tarak Brahma has no sanskara. So he takes the sanskaras of any devotees, those who are in trouble. And he unburden the devotees from his sanskaras, because he comes with that purpose. So everything is ideational. Main thing, our feeling. That's why Baba was always giving much importance to the purity of the thought. Baba might have told me many times to me personally that you should maintain the high standard of spiritual morality. You should always have clean thought, pure thought. If our mind and body will be pure, then he expresses more through this particular body and mind, which is pure. So we have to always keep in our mind how we can keep our mind and body clean. And for that, he has given different methods, different system, as we know. So purify our body, we have to take sentient food. We have to do nice yoga postures. Or to maintain the purity of the thought, we have to follow the Yam Niyam, 16 points and moral code, different codes what Baba has given to purify our thought. In this way, with the pure thought and mind, he can express more through our body and mind. So that is very important. As I have told, he is for the devotees. Guru is for the devotees, for the devotees. There is one nice incident about Jitendra Tyagi. You might not be knowing, he was Margi in the earlier stage. He took initiation from Baba in year 1954. And he was a very successful businessman and close friend of Acharya V.K. Asthana and R. Prasad. You have heard the name of V.K. Asthana and R. Prasad. Many persons might have seen them. Old Dadas and Didis might have seen him also. So how he takes care of the devotees. One day, he was really great devotee of Baba. As he was the initiates of Baba. One day he was very much perturbed. He suffered from a very serious illness, and doctor told him he was a habitual drunkard. You have to leave your drinking habit right now. Otherwise, your life is very short. You may collapse at any time. So he was very much disturbed. He was living in Calcutta, so he visited the mall to see Baba. And he did Sastang Pranam. Then Baba told, you come to me and I will give you complete protection. Baba, I will not survive for a long time. Who says? Our doctor had told. Baba told, Baba assured him that death cannot touch to my devotee. I will snatch you from the jaw of death. So he can do anything and everything for the sake of the dole. Then Baba kicked him his chest softly and slowly. He felt extremely hungry and his disease was gone away within a moment. So in those days when Baba was in Jabalpur, he was doing like this all the times. He was taking care of the devotees. One very nice incident, devotional story, what? This is the incident. And this happened when Baba came to Anand Nagar for December DMC in 88. You might have also come in Anand Nagar in December, January 88. So one female, very interesting, we had World RDS in the noon time. And that day Baba took RDS for more than 3 hours. And he was telling many things, explaining different things about the different places. And we were enjoying his darshan and his talk. Oh, meanwhile, it was maybe 2:30, I know. Then PA came, Baba, your health is not good. And now it is 2:30, about 2:45 it was. Then it is time for your lunch. So you have to leave the RDS. So Baba stopped taking RDS. He came to the room. Meanwhile, that PA Dada arranged many items for Baba, garam luchis and dal and rice and whatever may be. And as you know, the devotees, they were bringing many gift, different type of things for Baba. So many items was there, maybe 100 items in front of Baba. Baba touched all the items, even what he brought, garam luchi and vegetables, he touched, but he didn't take anything. Then he told to PA, today I have deep desire to eat colloquial rice. Particular, he told the name of the rice. And when Baba expressed means Baba must get, and there was not that particular rice available in the stock. And Baba wanted to eat that particular rice. So he didn't know. Then when Baba saw that PA is perturbed, don't get disturbed. Just you go in the main gate, then you might see one old lady with the back color, and he might be touching branches of tree with the right hand, and he might have some this with the left hand, and she might be having some pot of rice. Yedada came, saw here and there, then he could see that old lady what Baba had described, and he could see the pot of rice. Then he told, Mother, did you bring this rice for Baba? Yes, Dada, I have brought it for the Baba. So he had many items cooked with great love. So he served Baba. Baba ate the rice and whatever that lady brought. And Baba told, after a long time, I have taken such a delicious food. And I am fully satisfied. Today, after a long time, I am fully satisfied with the food. I ate with my heart content. Then PA Dada start thinking, we are feeding so many good things. Baba told after a long time, he could get such a delicious food and he could eat with the heart content. Then Baba, what is the mystery of the old lady? Then he told, that PA Dada tried to locate the lady, but he couldn't find out that lady. After feeding Baba, just she left. And the same day, she left her mortal pain. When Baba was leaving that time, PA asked to Baba, what is the mystery of that old lady? Baba told, he was my great devotee. And she lost her husband, sons and daughters, everybody. But she was my great devotee, solely depending on me. But she has one great desire. She wanted to feed me a particular that rice with her hands. That has a great desire. And when that desire was fulfilled, the same night she left her mortal frame and got Nirpal Samadhi, what Baba told. So this spiritual world is a mystery, and Guru is a mystery. His creation is also mystery. And in order to unfold the mystery, we have to catch hold of his feet. Then only we can know the mystery. We can understand the Guru. So this spiritual world, it is a mystic world. And here everything moves with the ideation. And to unfold the mystery, we have to be more spiritual and ideational and more devotional, and we should have feeling of surrender at his lotus feet. So maybe this was one incident. So maybe now time is over, I think so. So you have given me to much time, and actually I was in mistake that my time was over, so I concluded. Otherwise, I would have more elaborated this class of Guru Tattva, but somehow, namaskar.
Namaskar, Dadaji. Actually, your stories also amplified the Guru Tattva. So it's very